Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Honourable speakers, honourable members of Parliament, distinguished guests, dear observers, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all warmly to the inaugural Emilia Monjowa Lifaka lecture in honor of the late chairperson of the CPA International Executive Committee and former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Cameroon. I have themed this lecture, the impact of a life of service and the importance of civic duty. Allow me from the outset to thank the CPA for this invitation and privilege to deliver this inaugural lecture. I'm indeed humbled and honored because I have no doubt in my mind that there are more qualified persons than myself to undertake this task. As daunting as it may seem, I will strive to discharge this lofty duty to the best of my ability in the hope that my successors will even do better. In the course of preparing this lecture, I could not help but wonder if I really have what it takes to deliver an inaugural lecture in honor of the former Deputy Speaker of blessed memory. It afforded me the time and opportunity to reflect on the role or the mission of a public speaker. My research would lead me to Aristotle, who framed public speaking, or rhetoric, as it was called at the time, as the art of persuasion, the early study of which would lead a rhetorician to discover all means of persuasion within a given case. This also led me to reflect on some of the messages that have influenced my own personal journey, and indeed persuaded me. Amongst these were some of the messages shared by the late Lifaka herself during her tenure as Deputy Speaker of Cameroon's National Assembly and Chair of the CPA. I could tell without a shadow of doubt that she was passionate about the CPA. The key takeaway is the belief that the very foundation of public speaking is rooted in advocacy and civic engagement. Today's form of civic engagement involves seeking out and creating opportunities to listen as well as be heard. Whether speaking at your local city council meeting, parent-teacher association, or Congress, this moment of sharing is an example of such opportunities. The theme of this year's conference is the Commonwealth Charter, 10 years on, values and principles for Parliament to uphold. And it also coincides with the 10th anniversary of the Commonwealth Charter. It is felicitous to highlight one overarching value, which not only captures the life and the legacy of the late Honourable Lifaka and her roles within the CPA and the National Assembly of her country, but which I believe should serve as a beacon to you who have been elected into office. And that value is that of service. If you're a member of Parliament, your constituents may often bring their concerns to you, and you may act in a constituent matter which might result in priority attention from government departments. If a matter is particularly urgent or serious, the member may approach the relevant minister directly, or may even bring the matter before the Parliament by laying the matter to the responsible minister. The member may also sponsor a petition about the issue in question. All of these actions require commitment, and most importantly, a dedication to service. Honourable Monjowa Lifaka was elected chairperson of the CPA Executive Committee in November 2017 at the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference in Dhaka, Bangladesh. And she undertook a wide range of activities for the CPA in governance and parliamentary development. She had previously served as CPA Vice Chairperson from 2016-2017, CPA Africa Regional Representative, conference coordinator of the 60th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference held in Cameroon in 2014, and from 2007 to 2021 as the coordinator of CPA international activities for the National Assembly of Cameroon. She was passionate about her service, and this led her to receive several distinctions. The late Honorable Lifaka was also a single mother of 2 adult boys. I had the privilege of meeting Adolphe today, who has already been introduced. Adolphe kindly shared details about his mother, which inspired this lecture. And I'm so proud that her life has inspired his own life and has led him to also commit to embracing opportunities to serve. Her education enabled her to serve her nation, to serve the Commonwealth, and in her own quest to support young women, she mentored several women's groups and took particular interest in the training of young women through the FACO West Scholarship Program. This is a selfless act of service and one which has contributed to educating those who otherwise may not be able to afford it. Yet, their education would ultimately mean they become better citizens, and hopefully they too will serve their communities. As a volunteer, engaging in community service can vastly widen one's perspective and outlook on life. However, the concept and the idea of volunteering is one which many within my community did not understand. So I would often get asked by my friends, "Betty, do you mean you work for free?" However, being placed in a situation that might be unfamiliar to us can enable us to grow as a person and cultivate a sense of how the world operates out of our comfort zone and environment. But more importantly, we are committing ourselves to an act of service. Service to others, ultimately serving ourselves, our values, and our principles. In 2019, just before COVID-19 obviously made its way to the UK shores, I was invited to an event to attend by an organization I'd never heard of, the Commonwealth Education Trust. After this event, the then CEO, Kat Thorne, invited me for a coffee. And after a chat, I was asked if I was glad to serve as a trustee on the board of the Commonwealth Education Trust. The decision to serve on the board is one which will take me on an incredible journey, and one which has led me to this very moment today, the 2nd of October 2023, in Accra. I'm extremely grateful for that opportunity that kickstarted and has enabled my life mission of service. Earlier on, I spoke about my preparation for this lecture, and one of the abilities which are vital to communicate effectively at events like this, conference, and which are often taken for granted, is our ability to read. Learning to read is a milestone in every child's life. The ability to read means you are all able to understand me, hopefully, and connect with my own journey. Reading is a foundational skill. All children should be able to read by the age of 10. Reading is a gateway for learning as the child progresses through school, and conversely, an inability to read constrains opportunities for further learning. In recent years, it's become clear that many children around the world are not learning to read proficiently. Even though most children are in school, a large proportion are not acquiring the foundational skills. Moreover, 260 million children are not even in school. This is a leading edge of a learning crisis that undermines every country's efforts to build human capital to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. On the 8th of April, 1938, in Kumasi, in the Gold Coast, now Ghana, a set of twins would be born to a Ghanaian family. One of the twins was called Kofi Annan. Mr. Annan would join the United Nations in 1962 and served as its Secretary General. Kofi Annan is a sterling example of service. As such, it would be remiss of me, standing right here before you in Ghana, to not pay a resounding tribute to Kofi Annan or say thank you to this land for blessing the world with such an extraordinary legacy. Kofi Annan was instrumental in helping set the stage for the 17 Universal Sustainable Development Goals and the 169 targets we have today. His vision was set out in a blueprint to help achieve the Millennium Development Goals as well as to exceed their ambition. The Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and a more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. The Commonwealth Secretariat is committed to working with its member states and partners in their effort to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030 and help fulfill a pledge to build effective, accountable, inclusive institutions at all levels. To spotlight this learning crisis, the World Bank and UNESCO jointly constructed the concept of learning poverty, an accompanying indicator. Learning poverty means being unable to read and understand a simple text by the age of 10. This indicator combines schooling, learning metrics, and it begins with the share of children who haven't achieved minimum learning proficiency. Consequently, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4 aims to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education for all, eliminate learning poverty, and increase teacher training. When children cannot read, it's a clear indication that school systems aren't well organized to help children learn in other areas such as math, science. And although it's possible to learn in later life with enough effort, children who do not read, but by the age of 10 or at the latest by the end of primary school, usually fail to master reading later in their schooling career. Now, I'm currently serving as the CEO of the Commonwealth Education Trust. I always refer to myself as the servant in chief. We know at the CET that teachers have more impact in reducing this number and improving learning outcomes than any factor. The right investment in valuable teacher professional development leads to higher literacy levels, numeracy levels, increases the prospects of thousands of children worldwide, and hopefully fewer teachers would leave the profession. Thanks to higher staff morale, communities will become more developed and enriched. And our impact model is based on 4 core pillars. The first one is we build through our teacher professional development program, Teach 2030. We advise, so working closely with governments and other organizations to advise them on how best teach, on the importance of teacher professional development, working together with non-for-profit organizations. And for me, the most important pillar is that of elevating teachers' voices, celebrating our global community of teachers, empowering them to design innovative solutions for their classrooms and discuss their practice with fellow educators. This is the leading edge of a learning crisis, which is further exacerbated by COVID-19. It stands in the way of nurturing future leaders. Without an investment in teachers, we won't have children and young people who will be the next MPs or leaders. We all have a role to play to help these children acquire the human capital they need to power their careers and economies once they leave school. There's enough evidence that the shortcomings in the quality and quantity of schooling are a leading contributor to this human capital deficit. Before COVID-19, 57% of children in low and middle income countries could not read and understand a simple story already. The dual shocks to education systems, school closures, and the ensuing economic crisis have only deepened the crisis. Now, why is this important, you may ask? Well, the Commonwealth is home to the majority of the world's youth demographic. The Commonwealth's 56 member states have a combined population of 2.5 billion people, of which more than 60% are under the age of 30. At the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in 2022, leaders declared 2023 as a year dedicated to youth-led action for sustainable and inclusive development. The Year of the Youth was officially launched in January 2023. 2023 also coincides with the 50th anniversary of the Commonwealth Youth Programme, established to deliver support for young people under the age of 30 to reach their full potential. An invitation has been extended to young change makers, civil society, governments to work together towards renewed vision for the Commonwealth, one that is secure, fair, sustainable. And the Commonwealth Education Trust hopes that through our investment in teachers, we will be improving learning outcomes and by encouraging young people to find solutions within their countries and, where possible, discourage them from making dangerous journeys across the Mediterranean. Give them a sense of hope right where they are. Finally, allow me to offer a personal reflection. I grew up in Cameroon. My mother became a teacher, and my father joined the police force. After serving as a police officer and having had 5 mouths to feed, my father took a bold step to write his GCSEs via correspondence for what was then known as the Rapid Results College in London, sought admission at a university, resigned as a police officer, and take a gamble at getting his first degree. After a year, my mother would join him, and both would eventually get their degrees and return to Cameroon, the country which they so dearly love. I have obviously benefited from their ambition, and though it was challenging studying in a low and middle income country, the fact that I'm standing here is a testament to the transformative power of education and of the teachers that I have encountered. October 5th is World Teachers' Day. That is an important day for the CET. And this year's theme is the teachers we need for the education we want. The global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. Bearing in mind the life of the Honorable Lifaka and her dedication to service, and how we all have an important part to play in developing our communities, organizations, and the constituents we serve, I would like to pay a special tribute to one teacher who impacted my life, and who, in my opinion, mirrors the honor, the values, the commitments that led and guided the late Lifaka into a life of public service. This teacher is my secondary school teacher, Mr. Body Lawson. Mr. Body Lawson, my father and myself, we had a secret, which will no longer be a secret because you're all about to find out. My father had I would say he'd made an unwise decision and handed me my school fees to hand to the bursar. I didn't hand it to the bursar. On one fine day, while I was in biology class, the bursar came and informed me that the principal wanted to see me. I can assure you that it was a long walk to the principal's office. I admitted, once I got there, that there was little left of the money and profoundly apologized to both my father and Mr. Body Lawson and prayed that my father would not tell my mother. I was sure that event would be a defining moment in my life. In addition to this, I was never a top student. And now I was about to go down in my family's history, in addition to being a middle child, as the one who literally, as we would say in Africa, ate her school fees. Over the next 3 years, I would work so hard and try to stay out of trouble, and especially where possible, out of Mr. Body Lawson's gaze. On graduation day, I never became a top student, but my grades, they did somewhat improve. On graduation day, the most prestigious award is the Principal's Award for the most outstanding student. That's in sixth form. The person who got it had earned the grades to go with it. So naturally, when Mr. Body Lawson said, "Betty Abeng," I stared at the podium in utter disbelief. One of our courses at the Commonwealth Education Trust emphasizes the importance of giving feedback, which encourages a growth mindset in the classroom. When teachers provide effective feedback, which is honest, it doesn't discourage the students, but it encourages creative thinking and better learning. Technology can help support teachers remotely, but it certainly is not enough on its own. We all have a crucial role to play. And technology isn't a tool that policymakers can use, and technology is a tool that policymakers can use under the right conditions to enhance and support teachers. It's vital to acknowledge that the 80 million teachers worldwide cannot be expected to be superheroes. We must build an education supportive environment where the work of teachers is amplified outside the educational institution. The Secretary General of the Commonwealth, the Right Honourable Patricia Scotland, QC, at the last Heads of Government meeting, speaking after a reappointment, said, "To seek high office is a profound act of service, and I want to commend my colleagues who also sought to serve. May our service in our various spheres continue to be selfless, impactful, and truly make a difference in the lives of those who serve." Thank you all.